Welcome back, class. Some of y'all might be wondering, is that a sword he has in his hand? And the answer is yes, I do have a sword. But the reason is I'm going to be using this as a pointer to kind of walk us through everything we need to be doing here today. We're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. So, first things first is we got to define what a monomial is. That's M-O-N-O-M-I-A-L. A monomial is an expression that is a number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables. Now, what does that word product mean? Product means multiply. So if we've got a number and a variable being multiplied together, then that is a monomial. We've got some examples listed here. The number 12. So any number by itself, that is going to be a monomial. Any variable by itself, right here we've got a y, that is also going to be a monomial. This looks like division, and it is x over 3. But remember, anytime you see division like this, x divided by 3 is the same thing as x times 1/3. That's why we just say a product, because it's the same thing as x times 1/3. And then here you've got this other example, negative 5 times x squared times y cubed. So you've got a negative number times an x that is squared and times a y that is cubed. All of those are together, so that's one term. Anytime you just have one term, that is a monomial. Okay. The next thing we got to talk about is the degrees, okay, of a monomial. Okay, so the degree is just the sum of the exponents of its variables. For a non-zero constant, which is basically just a number by itself, then the degree is 0. Alright, so we're going to go through some examples right quick. First off, we have 2 over 3x, so 2/3 x. The degree would be 1, because the exponent with the x is a 1. We don't ever write a 1 as an exponent, just because we don't, but it's understood to be there, so the degree of 2/3 x is 1. The second example we have is 7x squared y cubed. The degree of this one is 5. Okay, the reason it's 5 is because you take the exponents x squared and y cubed, so the exponents are 2 and 3, and then you just take the sum, you add the 2 and the 3 together, and you get 5. And then the last example is just a constant term, 6. So if there's a 6 here, or any whole number, could be positive, could be negative. If there's not a variable with it, then the degree is going to be 0. Okay? Hope that is sufficient. Hope we can get this done. I'll be back in just a second with some more to this lesson. I'm back, and better than ever. So, here we are. We're going to talk about doing some polynomials. We're going to define what they are. Then we're going to talk about how to name them. Because whenever you name a polynomial, you can name it using its degree and its number of terms. Ooh, I better be careful. I'm going to cut my fingers off. Anyhow, so a polynomial is a monomial or the sum or difference of two or more monomials. So basically the monomials that we just talked about, if you start adding or subtracting two or more of those together, then you got a polynomial. Standard form of a polynomial means that the degree of each term decreases from left to right. So you're going to start with whatever the biggest one is, put the biggest one first, and then the next biggest one, until you get all the way down to the smallest one. And then the degree of a polynomial in one variable is the same as the monomial with the greatest exponent. So, kind of a hint for you, if you just put the polynomial in standard form, then the degree will be the exponent of whatever that first term is. Okay, so it makes it pretty simple to figure out. Once it's in standard form, you just look at whatever that first term is, and there you have it. You're going to look at the exponent and that is going to be the degree of your polynomial. So we got a bunch of examples here, so we'll get started. Hopefully you can see my chart here, and we'll go across from left to right. So the first example is 7x plus 4. As you can tell, this is already in standard form. We've got the 7x and then we got the 4. So if we look at the exponent of the first term, we have 7x, so that degree is 1. Now anything that has a degree of 1, okay, you're going to call that linear, okay, just like when we've been graphing a line. Okay, so anything that was just an x by itself, we could graph it like a line. Okay, so that's linear. Okay, then we're going to count the number of terms. Okay, so the number of terms, we have a 7x and we have a 4, so that's 2 terms. Okay, if you have 2 terms, it's called a binomial. Okay, a binomial, just like what you have at your house is a bicycle because it's got 2 wheels. Okay, you ride on it, you have fun, you play outside. It's a bicycle. So 2 terms, binomial, it's kind of the same thing. It's lots of fun. So next example, 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, so if we look at the first term, okay, the 3x squared, the exponent is a 2, so that means we have a degree of 2. Now anything that's a degree of 2 we're going to call a quadratic. Okay, a quadratic. And when you have a degree of 2, it's called a quadratic. And that is going to graph a parabola. We briefly talked about that. We talked about that if you accidentally mispronounce it, it might say parabola. And so it graphs the U-shaped thing that kind of looks like a bowl. That is a parabola. And we're going to call it a quadratic. So this first term here, 3x squared, and then we have plus 2x plus 1, so this is a quadratic. And then if we count the number of terms, there's 3 terms, making it a trinomial. So 3x squared plus 2x plus 1, there's 3 terms, the degree is a 2, so we would call it a quadratic trinomial. Alright? Next example, we have 4x cubed. This one's going to be a little bit simpler because there's just 1 term. So, the degree of that term is a 3. Okay, this is just the exponent for the x right there. So, anytime you have something that is a degree of 3, we're going to call it cubic. Okay, and a cubic, we haven't really talked about it, but the graph would look something like this. Okay, it's super fun. We don't really have to do a whole lot with cubics in algebra, so that's probably about all you'll ever see as far as how to graph it. But anyhow, it graphs like that. And since there's just 1 term, it is a monomial. So 4x cubed is a cubic monomial. Alright, next example, 9x to the 4th plus 11x. Okay, once again, this is already in standard form, so we're going to look at the very first term here. Which is 9x to the 4th. The exponent is a 4, so that means that the degree is 4. Now, once you get past 3, 4th degree, 5th degree, 6th degree, there's no more fancy names, you just call it whatever it is, okay? So 4th degree, 5th degree, 6th degree, 100th degree, 20th degree, whatever, okay? And we count the number of terms. There's only 2 terms here, so it is a binomial, okay? Once again, just like a bicycle, 3 terms, like we talked about up here, it would be trinomial, like a tricycle. It's got 3 wheels. Alright? So, anyhow, this example here, 9x to the 4th plus 11x, would be a 4th degree binomial. Okay? And then we have just a regular old 5 here. Okay? If we have a regular old 5, that's just a constant number. There's no variable. The degree is 0. So we would say it's a constant monomial because there's just 1 term, so it's just a monomial. I'll be honest, they're probably not ever going to ask you for one of those because it's just so simple. But if they do, you'll be ready. Alright, and then this last example, we have 5x cubed plus 3x squared plus 8x plus 9. So once again, we can see that that's already in standard form because we've got our x cubed, and then our x squared, and then our 8x, and then our constant term last. Okay, so the x's, the exponents are decreasing as we go. Alright, and so that's in standard form. So we're going to look at the first term again. We have 5x cubed. The degree is a 3 because the exponent is a 3. Okay? And then we count the number of terms. Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Okay? Since there are 4 terms, once again, once you get past 3, there's not any more fancy names or anything. Okay? So you're just going to call it a polynomial with 4 terms. So this is going to be a cubic polynomial with 4 terms. Alright, and that's about it. I hope you got all of that. I hope you understand it. I hope you're doing awesome. I hope you're having a great day. And that's it. Hopefully you'll slice right through this work. Alright, see you next time.